In the headlines, federal government to pay Egypt's visa fees for stranded Nigerians as Sudan crisis rages. Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) sues INEC over failure to probe governors and deputies on electoral violence. World Food Programme says 4.3 million Nigerians facing severe hunger. And on the international scene, 11 people killed in gas leak in northern India's Punjab state. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. Now the news in detail. The chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Rewa, on Saturday said the mission in Egypt was making arrangements for the payment of visa fees for stranded Nigerians at the border of the country. The federal government had on Friday called on relevant authorities along contiguous borders of Sudan to create a humane condition for about 7,000 nationals, including Nigerians, to have unfettered access to the various destinations. Dabiri-Rewa, who made the call, said the nationals were not being allowed to cross the border into Egypt since their arrival on Thursday evening. However, given the update on the stranded Nigerians at the Egypt border, Dabiri-Rewa said the mission has made arrangement to pay $9 per person and $25 per visas. Now, the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit against the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) over alleged failure to investigate allegations of electoral violence and other electoral offences, including bribery against some state governors and their deputies during the 2023 elections. According to a report, the recently concluded presidential and National Assembly elections and governorship elections in some states witnessed widespread reports of voter suppression, voter intimidation, and the destruction of theft of election materials by political party agents and thugs across the 6 geopolitical zones. And the suit filed last Friday at the Federal High Court of Abuja, SERAP is asking the court for an order of mandamus, compelling INEC to seek the appointment of independent counsel to investigate allegations of electoral offences against state governors and their deputies during the 2023 elections. Residents of Makurdi, the Benue State capital, have called on political actors in the 2023 general elections to keep or to abide by peace accord as assigned prior to the election. They also want winners at the polls to carry all Nigerians along to ensure that everyone gets a sense of belonging. The call is coming amid provoking statements from actors who participated in the elections and the supporters across the country. Jimmy Asande has more on this report.
With elections finally over and winners declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), many had hoped that the vituperations from parties that characterized the poll would reduce to the barest minimum. However, weeks after the exercise, tensions are still high with accusations and counter-accusations from actors along the party lines. This is why Makurdi residents are calling on winners to ensure that their supporters and parties remain magnanimous in victory, while losers should display the spirit of sportsmanship, since politics is a game where winners and losers are bound to emerge.
Those who did not make up, who did not win in the election, they should learn their lessons and adjust themselves and prepare themselves for subsequent elections, rather than inciting electorates to, cause violence in the system. I think that is for those who lost the election. And for those who won, they should see those who did not win as also citizens of Nigeria, and as those who are also partners in the development of this country. I will expect that they harmonize, they collaborate with those who didn't win to see how they can bring their ideas to bear.
My advice for them is that it's not that they are the best ones in this life. It is God that has made those arrangements for them to win the election. So it's giving them a lesson for them to stand and lead the people in such a way that everybody will be happy, because everybody expect that when you win the election, after that you have to bring back the good news.
Others are, however, keen to know the blueprint of the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to have an idea of the focus of the incoming administration, even as they believe that Tinubu has what it takes to make a positive impact on the nation.
My expectation is that if that document can be translated into a strategic plan, which I hope they will do, with strategic directions, some kind of developmental agenda for this country that links up the past, that is the Buhari's administration, with the present, then we're hoping that we're going to have a more robust, nation to come, dynamic, and of course the kind of nation, where we begin to experience some level of economic prosperity that can accommodate the teeming population of this country. One significant thing about the blueprint is that it took into cognizance the youthful population of this country, the joblessness, the unemployed, state of the nation, and what we can do with our youth resource. Tinubu is keen about that. And even in his victory speech, which he gave, you can clearly see him reflecting that again and again. He's somebody who understands what is the Nigerian challenge. He knows it.
29 May will usher in a new set of leaders in Nigeria, amid post-election tribunal cases challenging winners at all levels. It is left to be seen who takes the oath of office, where the elections were held, as stipulated by the laws of the land.
And now let's get back to updates of what's happening to Nigerians in Sudan and those who are trapped in the Egypt border. And joining us to discuss this is Hamid Al Hassan, one of the coordinators of the evacuation. Thank you so much for joining us, Hamid Al Hassan.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, now, what is the situation in Sudan now, and how much has the evacuation progressed?
To be frank with you, it's almost as if nothing has been done. Because to start with, as you already know, the arrangement made through NEMA and the Embassy of Nigeria in Sudan was that $400,000 made as down payment for evacuation of Nigerians from Khartoum, Egypt. That would mean securing about 40 buses. Unfortunately, on getting the money, the Embassy of Nigeria in Sudan used the money to procure just 13 buses. 13 buses to take to Egypt. And out of the 13 buses, 6 of them actually claiming that to Egypt. To me, am I clear?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So it got to an extent that the students had to submit their passports to the buses so that they now be taken to the border. But even with that, the buses took them to another border. You can imagine. It's like right now as I'm speaking to you, there's a possibility that some students are basically held hostage because without their passport at hand and being in a second party's hand, it means that they are basically being taken hostage. With regards to us here, we've been here for about 1 week. Yesterday, about 29 buses were sent to us from NEMA. And I have been in contact with the DG of NEMA regarding the development. And we got on the buses at 3 p.m. We were on the buses up to about 5 p.m. when we now realized from the drivers that no payment has yet been made for them. So we had to now disembark from the buses. And then I had to quickly call the DG NEMA once again to let him understand the situation on ground. And he affirmed that the payment has been made, that is a night before, because he was together with the PALM Secretary of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and when the payment was made.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, can I just finish this point? Sorry.
Okay, just wrap up the point
he told exactly.
Seconds.
So he made it clear that the payment was made. This morning he was out telling us that the payment has not been made, and it's now they are trying to make the payment in cash. So this means that something is actually very wrong here. You cannot tell me yesterday that the payment has been made, and then today you because I was asking him to give us the account number of the payment and all documents that has to do with the payment, because this is now a public affair. It's no longer a private affair. We were about to go live with those documents to make people understand what was going on.
Okay,
then he
so
told me that
we
right now
understand
payment
that,
is
you know,
made in cash.
Nigerians over there are going through a lot right now. And thank you for giving us a clear picture of what's happening to Nigerians over there. Now, the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora, has talked about the visas and the passports. She says that they're making arrangement for the payment of visas and passports and for the stranded Nigerians at the border. And also, the chairman of NIDCOM said that the money is being advanced to ease of difficulty being faced by the affected people that are yet to get reports of what's happening. Now, you're there and you're part of the evacuation coordinators there. So in your opinion, what can the Nigerian authorities do to ease these challenges? In 30 seconds, please.
I think what Nigerian authorities need to do is to be honest. Just as simple as that. Tell us exactly what is going on. If you cannot tell us today that you've made payment and then tomorrow you tell us you're not trying to make payment, it doesn't make sense. And making payment is not actually mathematics. It's not algebra or calculus. It's just a matter of just sending payment from point A to point B, and that is it. You know, it's very, very simple. Today we have electronic payments everywhere. Out of all the countries that have left, Nigeria is the only country that actually has this problem. Nigeria has one of the best electronic payment system in the world. You can imagine. So it doesn't make sense. Some people are just trying to capitalize on this, irrespective of the fact that people's life are in danger, and use this to make money.
Hamid, I wish we have more time, but thank you very much. We're so sorry about the audio.
Thank you very much.
We're hoping that the federal government to do something so we have all of you here safe and sound. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.
The audios of stranded Nigerians in Sudan and at the border with Egypt there. Moving on the news, mixed reactions have trailed the non-availability of the new Naira notes in circulation, as many people were accused of hoarding them ahead of December 31st, 2023 deadline by the central bank, when the old notes will be phased out. Some traders in Bauchi State describe the situation as very disturbing and called on the relevant authorities to take necessary action to make them available. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the report.
Traders and small business operators in Azare town are unhappy with the scarcity of new Naira notes in circulation. This, they say, may likely cause another cash crunch when the old notes are finally phased out. They blame large-scale marketers for holding the currency. I am sure that people hide the new Naira notes. The big businessmen are usually holding the new Naira notes because even price of animals in that market differs according to the currency you have. The price of animals paid for with the new notes is higher, while the ones bought with old notes is lesser. Also, local, especially Fulani herders, usually come during weekly market days with the notes. But when they close from the cattle market, they go back with the new and old notes. However, when they return, they hide those new ones and come back with the old notes for transaction as a result of December deadline.
I believe as the Supreme Court already give order on the 31st December, although now you usually know whether I think when the time came there must be another injunction of court, because if not, the money will be the other problem we faced before this one will be more than that.
Some business operators and bank customers expressed concern over the matter, explaining that the problem has a multiplier effect that needs to be tackled as soon as possible.
Because a lot of bankers are relying or are considering those that have much money in their account. So they are the ones that used to get the money from the bankers. But people that are rendering a little bit business or small scale business are not be able to have direct source or direct money from the bank unless when they come to us. Have not been available, especially since they say that they will continue with the old Naira notes. We have not been seeing the new Naira notes anymore. The new Naira notes just like it vanished. Because even in the market, if you go now, you cannot find new Naira notes, just old Naira notes that you see in the market.
According to the central bank, there has been a 71% increase in the currency in circulation. Yet, the new notes are becoming unavailable for the majority of Nigerians, with each passing day a situation many describe as worrisome. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Buildings honoring criminals in Uli community in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State have been marked for demolition. Also, heavy deployment of officers and men of the police and the army have commenced day and night strikes in the 4 villages that make up the community in order to restore peace and security in the area. Speaking at Uli Peace and Security Summit, the Anambra State Commissioner of Police, Echeng, who was represented by the Police Area Commander of Ihiala, Basa Christopher, said the security operators in the community tagged action all the way. The State Commissioner for Homeland Matters, Chiko Dianaga, announced that in line with the laws of the land, the owner of the building that has been demolished loses the property. In his address at the summit, the President General of Uli Progressive Union, Tobias Obiagazi, pleaded for amnesty among the youth that would volunteer to lay down arms. And now the United Nations World Food Programme, WFP, has raised alarm that 4.3 million Nigerians in Borno, Adamawa and Yobe states will likely face severe hunger between June and August 2023. The WFP, which relied on March Kadar Harmonized, a unified tool for the consensual analysis of acute food and nutrition insecurity in the Sahel and West Africa region, to make these projections, disclosed this in a statement at the weekend. WFP is concerned that years of armed conflict in northeast Nigeria is driving hunger and malnutrition, with millions in need of life-saving assistance and facing the risk of famine. According to the UN agency, the ongoing conflict has affected the nutrition status of children on several fronts. Other than that, 2 million children in the northeast region are projected to suffer from acute malnutrition. The WFP warned that the more people in need of urgent food assistance who go unassisted, the greater the risk of starvation and death among the most vulnerable, and the most people will be forced to resort to coping mechanisms such as survival sex, selling possessions and child labor. WFP has said it requires $190 million over the next 6 months to provide life-saving food and nutrition assistance to the most vulnerable people. You're watching Trust TV News Update, still to come. We'll take a look at how youths engage in age-long craft of tie and dye. Details of this report and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news updates on Trust TV. But look at our top stories again. We told you earlier that federal government to pay Egypt visa fees for stranded Nigerians as Sudan crisis rages. And the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, sues INEC over failure to probe governors and their deputies on electoral violence. Moving on to more news, the people of Azare in Bauchi State have identified blockage of waterways as a major problem that needs to be addressed as part of early preparation to mitigate flooding and avert the 2022 devastating effect they expressed their concern to Trust TV while reacting to the early commencement of the wet season. Adamu Imam has more.
In 2022, Bauchi community suffered the devastating impact of flooding as a result of excessive rainfalls and thunderstorms. Although Azare town is not among the worst hit areas by flooding last year, however, 29 people were reported killed, while 4,500 farmlands and 8,457 houses were submerged by water, according to the State Emergency Management Agency. People of the area are concerned about the indiscriminate dumping of refuse on the waterways, as this can lead to flooding with devastating effects. This is a big problem here during rainy season. We experience a lot of challenges. Even small children die here inside the waterways. It also attracts mosquitoes inside our shops. We usually go home. When we come back tomorrow, we discover fresh refuse dumped inside. I think people are the cause of this problem. I think clearing of environment is everybody's business. We are the neighbors of these problems. The shop owners should contribute by clearing regularly so that we avoid possible flood disaster here, since there are signals of excessive rainfall this year. Meanwhile, Saadu Musa and Musa Bello has a contrary view. They believe that government has the responsibility of arresting the situation through enforcement. Government can make a lot of impact in mitigating the problems at the local level by encouraging people with tools, especially those living in the flood-prone areas, to ensure all measures are put in place by calling people's attention periodically on the danger ahead. To me, the authority has a huge responsibility. If there are issues affecting the society, they know how to approach it holistically, particularly this problem of dumping refuse inside waterways. Recently, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency warned many communities to expect heavy rainfall and prepare for possible flooding during the 2023 rainy season. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Tie and dye business is an age-long craft that has dominance in the southwest Nigeria. And the craft, which seems to have eroded, is now finding its way back to the society through the hands of young people. Take a look.
Adire, popularly known as tie and dye, is quite common among West Africa countries, and in Nigeria it is mostly common among the Southwesterners. Some Nigerian youths have taken to it as an entrepreneurship skill for business. Doyin Mola Olajoye is an African lady who is passionate about the African culture and style. She's a rare combination of beauty and brilliance. Her passion for the promotion of the African indigenous culture through sustainable fashion and African textiles is an assignment she has embarked on and has sustained for 4 years. This makes her stand out amongst her peers. Doyin Mola, in an exclusive interview, spoke on how she started the tie and dye business.
I didn't have the skill myself. I was only a fashion model. But then after I won, I was the second runner-up. I was not the main queen. However, since I had told myself that it's something I wanted to work on, after 4 months of my win, I actually proceeded to start training people on how to make Ankara crafts and all of that. But for some reasons, I had to, of course, pause again, because finances is always a very, very important part of any project that one wants to do. So what I did was I went to learn how to do a craft. Of course, since I am big on culture and creativity, I decided to choose Adire, which is indigenous, and I went for that. And after a while, I started training people, and then business was just it for me, because of course with business you can share your value and make money in return. That was really how I started.
Just like in every business, there are challenges. The tie and dye business is not left out. Doyin Mola spoke on some of the challenges she faces in the business.
And you know how I see challenges. I'm really excited that I was not asked this particular question. in this way. So what are the problems that you face? Because many times I'm like, no, they're not problems, so to speak. They're really just things that would help push you up. And some of the challenges, of course, as a creative person, you want to be so big on, okay, let me create, let me use these colors, let me do this Adire design, let me, just explore creativity. But many times it's not about the business. Imagine how I even started. It was not about business for me. So I had to struggle with balancing how I make money, how I use this business to make money, than how I focus on the creativity aspect. But of course, that's not what I'm facing right now. I think in the early days, in the second year, I was more of, okay, let me do this to get this to this person. But it was not so much about business. So, low sales, but still fair.
Our continuous dedication and commitment to African renaissance is no doubt commendable and worthy of emulation.
And on the international scene, at least 11 people have died and 11 others have been admitted to hospital after a gas leak in Ludhiana in northern India state of Punjab. According to a top city official, the entire area was being evacuated. A team from the National Disaster Response Force was at the site on Sunday, according to a video feed shared by the ANI News Agency. Police were seen patrolling while wearing masks and asking locals to keep out of the area that had been cordoned off, the video showed. Bhagwant Mann, Punjab's chief minister, expressed sadness over the deadly leak. And now in sports, Team Nigeria began its participation at the ongoing African Under-18 and Under-20 Athletic Championship in Zambia, with a duo of Joma Ogenefejiro Praise and Ushok Grace grabbing 2 gold medals. 42 athletes are flying the nation's flag at the combined 4th African Under-18 Championships and the 15th African Under-20 Championships, which began on Saturday. Nigeria's first gold medal came from triple jump on the 18 event, where Praise jumped 12.67 meters a few hours later. Nigeria increased the tally to 2 gold medals, with Ushok Grace jumping 13 meters in the Under-20 triple jump event. President of Athletics Federation of Nigeria, Chief Tonoba Kokowa, who has just been elected, is one of the vice presidents of the Confederation of African Athletes, CAA, said that the gold medal won by Praise and Ushok in the triple jump event was a sign of good things to come for Team Nigeria in Zambia. And that brings us to the end of the news update at this hour. For more, you can follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. On behalf of the news crew, thank you for watching and stay tuned.